Welcome to The Road Less Traveled with Tiffany Rosenbaum. This podcast is about sharing the success and failure of entrepreneurs. Join in and learn from others' mistakes so you don't have to go through the same hardships in business. Now let's welcome your host, business coach, real estate investor, and proud wife and mom, Tiffany Rosenbaum.
Well, Craig, I am ecstatic to actually have you on because anytime I ever talk to you, I feel like I could talk forever with you, like learning, growing, everything.
Not too much.
And no, it's good. And I would love to start with your story, though, how you got into insurance, how you even wanted to get into insurance, how you started the journey of entrepreneurship.
Yeah. Well, at 3 years old, I grew up and said, I want to sell insurance. I just did.
Did you really?
Heck no. Are you kidding
Oh,
me?
it's like, wait, hold up.
Who wants to do insurance? Nobody wants to do insurance. It's like the oldest business in the world. It's like, no, nobody grows up wanting to do insurance, okay, especially me. I watched my dad as a successful commercial real estate broker and said, wow, that looks fun. I'd love to do that, right? So you usually want to emulate what your dad did or, go into the family business if there's a business established. And I thought that, I'll go on my mission, come home, graduated from ASU, even though it was about the quickest experience you could have. I just 21 credit hours, working full time, blew through college, didn't really have a college experience because I don't enjoy school. I want to get it over with. And I wanted to get into a career. And so when the time came I was graduating and talking to my dad, or even before that, hey, what do you think? Like, what do you think I should do? And I'm waiting to see if he'll say, oh, you should look into, if you want to look into real estate, we can look into it. If you want to do this or this and be open. But he shot me down pretty hard. I mean, he said, you don't want to do what I do. And I'm like, really?
Oh, wow.
Now, my brother Corey, as you know, is on my dad's team in commercial real estate. So things had changed a little bit and whatnot to where maybe it made sense for Corey. But at the time, he was like, you don't want to do real estate. And I have an uncle that already worked there, and I don't love a ton of family in one business. Things can get not fun sometimes with a bunch of family. And so I was already not leaning towards that, but I was a little shocked when he was like, no, don't do what I do. And the reason is because he made it clear that he killed himself to get where he is. I mean, I love my dad. I mean, don't get me into it. I'll probably start crying because he's amazing. He's like my hero. But don't get me crying. Don't talk about it. But like, he was a good example of hard work, right? He worked his tail off. He taught us to work. We'd go clean his buildings. He wanted to make sure we knew how to work. So we learned how to work by scrubbing his buildings, washing off the parking lots, power washing parking lots every Saturday.
I did not know this story.
Every Saturday we'd go to his buildings. He owned 4 or 5 commercial buildings. He had one in Phoenix off 40th Street. That building was a mess, auto repair tenants. But every week or every other week, at least 2-3 times a month, we'd go pull the weeds, literally wash out the parking lot. Okay, he's the landlord. And putting in perspective now, like, I didn't realize it back then, but I'm like, who does this?
Nobody.
Who goes and washes out your parking lot for your tenants? Okay, as the landlord, he did that. We did that every friggin' Saturday. So apart from squeegeeing the garage floors, which we had to do, the epoxied floors, you hose them out, put a little soap together, you'd mop it out first, then you'd squeegee it, then you dry it. Okay, we did the floors. We'd go to his buildings, pull weeds, trim trees. Some of the stuff that was around. I mean, I remember one time there was a dumpster and there was homeless stuff just behind the dumpster, right? Homeless bed and all this crazy stuff, and it looked like it had been peed on, all this nasty stuff. And we're cleaning all this crap up, throwing it away. And so we'd go to 3 or 4 of his properties and clean out the parking lots, literally pushing. Like, my brothers and I are pushing brooms while someone's spraying the hose and every piece of dust out of that parking lot out to the street. Oh yeah, the rocks, pulling weeds, and then sweeping and let's just clean up. Just maintenance, just general cleanup. And he wanted to make sure we knew how to work. Well, he taught us how to work, maybe a little too much sometimes. But that's actually my nemesis. Is now it's like, if I'm not doing stuff, I feel lazy.
Yeah.
And so during work hours especially. But I've had to train my brain is during work, I turn into a different person. I'm not the goofy, fun, loving Craig that I am outside of work. You can ask my coworkers. I am more of an a-hole, get it done, 100 miles an hour, we're here to work attitude. And so, anyways, we can get into that. But he taught us to work. And so when I came to the point, let me jump back full circle. When I came to the time to talk to him about a career, he's like, Craig, I killed myself. And everything in real estate is deal to deal to deal to deal. Now there's leases, which are considered more like residual type stuff if you're getting the leases for the representing the landlord as well on leases. But he's like, everything's deal to deal. And it is no matter what in sales, but he's like, there's more of a residual aspect in insurance, for example. I had an Uncle Damon who was doing insurance. His father-in-law owned Webb and Greer Insurance. So Ben Greer and Craig Webb started Webb and Greer in the 90s. Damon, my uncle, was working there. And he's like, you should talk to him. He's like, I think that's an excellent business to get into. He might have mentioned one or two others, but that's the one that kind of stuck out. I'm like, okay, I'll talk to Damon. I'll see what it's about. So I called and talked to Damon, and I like what I heard in terms of, if you do a good job, if you work hard, build a book of business, and keep people, happy and take care of them, it's more of a residual type business because you're building a book of business. It takes time. It's not a get rich quick thing. Insurance is the opposite of get rich quick. It takes a lot of clients to build up a book of business that is significant to make good money. But if you do it, and if you hustle, minimum of 5 to 10 years, it can add up to something. And so that was incentivizing to me, just because I knew I didn't want to have a cap or a ceiling on my income. And so watching what my dad and how we were brought up and the fun things we were able to do, I knew that sales was pretty much what I wanted to get and needed to get into, because I need there to be no cap. I want to work. I want it to be like, I think what I'd said the other night when we all got together was like input equals output, right? That's important to me. If I work harder, then I want to have the opportunity to make more money. So that was important to me. At the same time, it needs to be an honest business, a good business, a business that's something people respect and admire you for. Sometimes insurance agents aren't that, so, but there's a lot of slummy insurance agents out there, okay? But it is a respectable business, and you're protecting people's assets and businesses, and especially the commercial side. So then when I thought about the commercial side, it really made sense. My dad works with a bunch of landlords, property managers, all these things, which kind of, go hand in hand for commercial insurance. So that was an incentive as well. And then he has his 60, 70 plus brokers that work there who also have tenants who need insurance. So it made sense. And I took the jump and started in early 2010. Early 2010, I started Webb and Greer Insurance. And it was good. It was really hard in the beginning. I was cold calling. I mean, in sales, there's really no shortcut, especially in the business sales. You have to call, stop by and visit, follow up, reach out. I mean, it's all either talking on the phone or visiting. There's no secret website you can create that business owners are going to go to let me find out where to buy commercial insurance. No, they talk to their competitors, they talk to their friends, they talk to their family or people they know. Who's your commercial broker guy? Who's your guy that does your insurance for your business? I've never done personal lines, so I've never sold home and auto. My agency does that now, and that's a good thing to make sure you have for your commercial clients. But I've always done commercial, and I started out, and I remember my dad, after getting my feet wet for the first few months or so, printed off his BlackBerry list or whatever it was, like his contact list. Right?
Oh, wow.
And he went through and he highlighted, he goes, this one's going to be good. This one's going to be good. Call this guy, call him. And so I started to make a couple calls, and it was, hello, this is Craig Breinholt, Leroy's son. He thought it'd be good for me to call you and ask if I could provide a competitive bid on your commercial insurance, right? I'd love to provide some options for your commercial insurance. Well, as a new salesperson, especially if people think you're new or know you're new and you're protecting businesses, they're a little leery, right?
Just a little bit.
They're a little bit leery about, why am I going to move to this kid who just started in the insurance business, and does he really know his stuff? There's all those questions, right? For a good reason. And that's where it's important to have a good mentor and a good, competent person to help teach you the business. And I'll give full credit to Ben Greer. Ben Greer is an excellent commercial agent. He had a degree in insurance from ASU when they had it back then. They got rid of it because nobody wanted that garbage. But he had a degree from ASU in insurance. I think they got rid of it in the 90s, but he had it. And then he's the epitome of an analytical, which I thrive on because I'm the same way. Very analytical, very passionate. And so it was immediately for me a huge, yes, this is what I want. This is what I need. And I'm like a sponge. I just want to grab everything and put it in here. So Ben was awesome. He was great at that. Unfortunately, shortly after I started, Ben started going through a divorce, and things got crazy for him. But he was a great trainer and a great mentor in the insurance business because he cared for his clients. Like there's three things I have written down on my computer that I came up with or heard from, I think it was my attorney and somebody else, and kind of put it together. But people want to buy from people who are technically competent, who give good customer service, and who actually care. And Ben was a good example of those. He was an awesome example of those. And that was important to me, to be at a shop like that, because you can't learn that business. You can't learn the insurance business, the commercial insurance business, unless you learn it from somebody who's technically good. You're not going to learn it in textbook. You have to see examples. You have to see claim scenarios. You have to see, and then you have to dive into the forms and have someone help you interpret those and get your own interpretation through their interpretation. And for me, that was huge. So Web and Greer was an awesome start for me. Grateful for that. Grateful for the training and the ability for Ben to help my brain grasp those concepts at an early stage in my career, because that's what helped propel me into the future. We run into a lot of different commercial brokers. There's so many insurance agents out there. I mean, I mentioned at the meeting, anyway, so
there are a lot.
There's a lot, but I will tell you, especially at this stage of my career, if I'm competing on a commercial account and I look at the name of the brokerage, I can tell you whether it's going to be an easy for us to get or not. Like, there's a few out there that know their stuff somewhat. If I see the name of the broker, then I'll really know. But there's a few that know their stuff and they're really good. There's a lot that don't. A lot. It's the 80-20 rule. I'd almost call it, in my business, it feels like 90-10, where 10% of us really get it and we do the technical, competent stuff, that we really understand the policy, the language, and the endorsements that you need. I walk into these businesses and there's free coverage that just needs to be asked for. It'll blow your mind. One of them, I walked into a $20 million business. I said, if your agent asks for this and this, it'll get added. It's free right now as it stands. If you have a loss, you're going to get $160,000 less than what you think. Whereas if he asks for this and this, which is free, you get the $160,000 back.
Oh, wow.
It's that simple. Like but if you don't know, you don't know.
But it's knowing, and you had a mentor that helped you show all that.
Yep. So Ben Greer was a mentor for me and really helped me. And I don't want to brag, but he did say I learned the quickest in the business. He said I was the quickest learner in the insurance business that he'd ever had. And there were 9 of us. He pretty much was the trainer for everybody. And I just absorbed everything. I'd waited my whole life, it felt like, to be in something that I could be technical at, right? I'm a strategist. I'm an analyst. My brain thrives on like variation and analytical. Like I soak it in. I love it. So when you're doing insurance, commercial insurance, you're reading contracts, which seems dumb and stupid. But if you can have an analytical brain about it, and you can find strategy, and you can find ways to competing. I love competing. That's the other thing. I'm a competitor. Just a little bit. So when you can use those tools and resources and analytics to then compete, and there's a lot of variation, that's where I thrive. Because if it's not, no offense, but personal lines is too simple for me. There's too few of coverages. Whereas commercial, it's insane. There's tens of hundreds of different types of coverage, if not thousands. So, and each business is unique, and then each carrier is unique on how they do it and what they won't do and what they will do, and every form is different. There's a lot of variations. So with those complexities and variations, for me, it's like, this is where I can compete. This is where I can do well, because if it's this complicated and this much data to analyze and sift through and learn, and if you don't know it, you don't know it, and complexity, that's where I can show my strengths and really shine through, where maybe people who are more mediocre, you're going to walk all over them. So I love that. That's the competitor in me. Okay. Yeah. So Ben Greer helped propel me for that. And then I was on track. I started Right Business. It took almost 3 years for my dad's property managers to start trusting me. Like, I reached out to their property managers, and it was a big wake up call for me. Those first 2 years were really rough. Because again, everybody knows you're green, and everybody knows that you're just learning it, and they don't really want to go, yeah, here's my business, I hope you know what you're doing. Even though I was under the wing of somebody very competent and learning and growing, and had learned quite a bit myself, they still have a hard time trusting you. They want to see you around.
I love that you said that, though, because Craig, a lot of people looking at you could say, well, your dad handed it to you. And people will say that.
Well, that's the funny thing, is the property managers almost treated me the opposite. They're almost like, I'm not going to give daddy's boy the business. Like, literally, it was harder to get the business because of that relationship. Mm-hmm. And he's very good. He was like, I'm not going to interfere. I will not step in. I will not tell them who to use. I will not say, give my son a chance. He stayed completely out of it. He's good like that. He's very sensitive about relationships. And so he's like, here, I'll give you their names and I'll tell you who they are and what they do. You have to reach out, right? And same thing with his clients. You need to reach out. You need to talk to them. I'm not going to make the calls for you, and I'm not going to tell them to use you. That's not I won't do that. I won't do that to my clients, and I won't do it to my property managers. And so it took almost 3 years to get the first property manager at CPI to actually use me. Yeah, over 2 years.
A lot of grind.
And so, but then I think I did a lunch and learn or something like that. Actually, no, the first property management firm that I worked with was ACM, awesome people, which is a division of Reliance Management, which was Daryl Burton, one of my dad's really good clients. And I went in there and did a lunch and learn, and I had Ben with me. But I created these slides, and I passed them out, and we went through this little PowerPoint thing and just talked on some of the coverages. And it was an awesome reaction. I mean, they bought in, and they're like, wow, you guys know what you're doing, and this ordinance of law, and this agreed value on blanket buildings, and all this different coverages that, we understand a little bit better now about what these do. And then I got a referral from one of the gals there at ACM, and she sent me this $120,000 account, which was with Brown & Brown at the time. And I went in and competed and wrote it for $90,000, saved her $30,000. And so she loved it, and she was so happy. And from there, it was boom, 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 boom. Next thing you know, I'm getting referrals from them. And then after that was commercial properties. And then I would get in there with one, and then she would talk about me with, she would send properties over, and then it would send to the others. I don't work with every single property manager at CPI still. I don't. There's some that prefer to work with other people. There's some that worked with my Uncle Damon. But I was grateful to be able to work with most of them, and over the years have worked with almost all of them. And it's been a huge blessing. So it was great, but it was a grind. It was not given to me. In fact, they literally, in my head, they're saying to themselves, we're not going to give this to daddy's boy. We're not going to do this. That's what it felt like. And I understand that. Right?
But I love that came out, because a lot of people could look at you and go, oh, you were just handed it. And in reality, that's not your dad, first of all, because I know him and I've worked with him. Yeah. And relationships are important. So you had to grind just like anybody else, and probably actually worse because you had those relationships. Yeah,
I get that sometimes. I get the comments. My buddies joke about it. Oh, yeah, you're just a trust fund guy, right? I don't even know if I have a trust fund, first of all. Don't know, don't care. But yeah, I know what I had to work for and what I had to do, and that's enough for me. So grateful for that. But Webb & Greer ended up selling in my 4th year. They announced it, and I think by year 5 or so, they had sold to a big firm, big agency, brokerage based in New York, called USI Insurance Services. Had no idea who they were, didn't know of them. They have their way of doing business, and it just immediately for me raised a red flag, because they wanted to go after the big accounts, right? And a lot of the business I'm working on, and a lot of the things I'd seen over the years, and we can go into that in a minute. Remind me to tell you about my dad as an example of the type of business to go after and how he did it, and where I kind of modeled that, so to speak. But I'm a 6th generation native to Arizona. My entire family is right here in this valley. Like, I can only count on maybe a couple fingers who lives outside of the state in all my 120, 150 relatives that are close by. So everybody's here. Small, big, medium, it doesn't matter the size of account. It's relationships. And so when we sold to USI and we were given a threshold, immediately they told us, your commissions are going down on renewal, which, okay, whatever, but we're going to give you the ability to write bigger accounts. Okay. Anyways, we won't get into that. But then they said anything under their normal was like a $80,000 to $100,000 account, but they pulled it back for us. They said, okay, for you guys, anything under $40,000 in premium, you're not going to get paid on. So anything that's an account less than $40,000 in premium, roughly, you're not going to get paid on. So you need to work on things over that. Well, try working on an account and going up front going, hey, are you over 40,000?
Yeah.
Are you paying
that loses the relationship right then and there.
Yeah, exactly. Like you're not saying that, but you have to think it, because if it's not, you're not getting paid. I mean, terrible. Like, in my opinion, that's the worst. That is not how I want to do business. I don't care if it's $500 or $500,000. I want to treat them the same, and I want their business. And I want to do it in a way we can both be successful. And that just wasn't, and no offense to USI, they're a great organization, they're a great company, and they have their their intentions and their metrics, and they're killing it. They're doing awesome. But for me, immediately, it was a no way, Jose. I said, this is not why I came to a 40-plus employee business to get sold to USI. So immediately, I tried to leave. I actually, attorneys are really good, okay? Well, I immediately reached out because I wanted to know about my non-compete.
Yeah, you're not.
So I wanted to know about my non-compete.
Most insurance companies have non-competes.
We have non-competes. It's not a non-compete. It's called an employment agreement or a non-solicitation, non-interference, non-acceptance of business. So it is it's a contract that says, hey, if you leave here or if you're terminated, voluntarily or involuntarily, you can be in the business, but you cannot take your clients or employees of the business or company property, et cetera, for 2 years. So it was a 2-year non-solicitation, non-interference with my book of business. And I had grown my book a pretty decent size by then. I was hustling, and that year 3 and year 4, things really escalate. Starts to accelerate if you've put the work in the first few years. So I was looking at basically walking away from my book of business and starting over, which was fine. But I needed to decide, well, number one, what I could do with my non-compete or couldn't do, and number two, was I going to go work for somebody else, or was I really going to try to break out on my own at age 28 and be an insurance broker? And 28, you don't see any agency owners that are 28 years old. I'll just tell you right now. This is an old school business. This is an old man business. The average commercial broker, at the time I was in it, when I started, the average commercial insurance broker, I want to say, was 56 years old, 57 years old. They've done
a big window.
The industry's done a really good job of hiring some more fresh, young blood. So it's come down. I want to say it's maybe 50 now is the average, but it's a very old man's business. And so I was 28 years old when that happened, I believe, 27 or 28. And I told my Uncle Damon, I'm like, hey, good for you guys, because he was a partner there. I was not. I had intentions to be a partner. We had talked about it, but I was not there yet. Still, building my book. And I told them, I said, this isn't for me. I don't want this. I'm happy for you guys for selling. Truly, this is your decision. I don't have bad feelings towards you or anybody who voted for this, because there was like 7 owners. They voted for it. And I think it was a way for Ben Greer and Craig Webb to get a payday and move on, right? They'd grown their agency, which was great. I was happy for them. But I said, I'm probably going to cut ties. Like, I need to figure it out, but this doesn't work for me. I don't want to go into this $4 billion agency that only wants to target Microsoft and Google and Bing. And no, this isn't for me. And so I'd reach out to an attorney, and he's like, of course, attorneys are like, oh yeah, you can do this, this, and this. Like, let's go. And I'm like, oh, pump the brakes. Like, what? And so I did deliver a letter to Craig Webb, and it was basically like, hey, here's the deal. I'm out. I'm not taking my book with me, so to speak, but it was a little more aggressive about what I wanted to do and start, either go somewhere else or start my own. And I was even willing to offer to buy some accounts, which that got turned down later, to pay for them. But essentially, it kind of started a world war in there. The letter that I dropped off to Craig Webb was, it was ugly. My own uncle at the time, Damon and I are awesome now. We're great terms. But at the time, he was a partner, and it looked like I was throwing a wrench in the deal. Yep. And so, I'm just a young blood, young producer in my 20s, but they were buying us a lot of the reason they were buying us and paying a really good price was because of the young producers. Yes. They wanted us. And looking at it now, that makes sense, and I understand it, but still, it's like the sale to that, with that situation, just was not for me, and I knew it. So I tried to leave, put a letter, on Craig Webb's desk. He came over. It was, I'll never forget that day. He shows up to my office, pissed. He's angry as can be. Damon, my uncle, really pissed. He basically looked, I remember him looking at me and saying, do you realize this is World War II? World War III? These were World War III. You realize this is World War III? And I'm like, what? Because I want to leave? I'm like, holy crap. Like, it took me for a surprise. They told me to go home for the day. They changed my computer passwords. They locked me out. Like, immediately they were like, okay, this kid's done. But then Ben Greer met with me, and he basically said, and I have the whole thing recorded because I was scared to death. I recorded the whole conversation with Ben.
Oh my goodness.
Full disclosure, Ben, if you're listening to this, I have the whole thing recorded. I listen to it sometimes, and it's fascinating. It's interesting. But he basically told me, like, you need to do the right thing and you need to stay here and you need to try it. And I'm like, okay, but I wasn't buying it. I still wanted out. I didn't want to stay around for the USI merger. But later that day, my dad, because let's be honest, if I was going to go do my own thing, where was I going to get the funding? From my dad. Damon knew that. Damon knew that my dad had the ability to give funding to start another agency. He was, I think, worried about it at the time, which I would have been also. And we got on the phone with me, Damon, and my dad, and it was a little knockdown, drag out. I mean, it was come to Jesus, all of us. And, you know, my dad tries to play it nice, always. He's very much a relationship person. He doesn't want any bad blood with family. He doesn't want any bad blood anywhere.
He's so level-headed, too.
He's level-headed, but he cares about relationships above anything else. Mm-hmm. That's his number one thing. And I'm that way, too, but I'm a little more like, well, if it's like legit and legal and facts, like, sorry family, I love you, but it is what it is. Where he'll scrap the whole thing, lose money, whatever, because he always wants to be, you know, in good graces with his family and everybody, which I respect and love. Sometimes it's to his demise, I think, and that hurts to see, but he's very much about that, and I respect it. And after we talked with Damon and everything, I think we just came to the point where it was like, hey, Craig, if we want to do this later, we want to go break off and do our thing later, we can do it. But let's just keep everybody calm, keep everybody happy, go to USI. Maybe you'll like it. In my head, I'm like, no way. There's no way I'm going to like this. Maybe you'll like it. Try it out. The main issue was I had to sign a whole new non-compete. So with USI, so the non-compete I had with Webb and Greer was like mediocre. The attorney was like, this is not that great. But he said, the new one you're signing, that one's good. And so that was one of the biggest issues, was if you stayed on board, you had to sign a new non-compete. And I was like scared to death because the attorney was telling me, he's like, this is a much more ironclad non-compete. Again, the world revolves around contracts.
Oh, it does.
So if your contract is weak, it's weak. If your contract is strong, it's more scary. Well, USI's contract was strong, right? $4 billion agency. They probably had a few attorneys with their eyes on that. So it was much more well-written and much more ironclad. And so it was scary, but ultimately I backed off, and I decided to stay with USI. And I stayed around for just over a year. And
did you sign the non-compete?
I signed the new non-compete. Oh, you had to. You were fired if you didn't.
Okay.
If you were a producer that didn't sign it, you couldn't work there. So stuck around for a year, tried it out. You know, good company. They mean well. They really do. But just not my cup of tea, and not what I figured it would be like is what it was like. Ben ended up becoming a practice leader where he's in charge of training all the producers now. He's not an agent anymore, but he had equity or stock in USI, and I'm happy for him. I love the guy. I still see him every once in a while. Craig Webb retired shortly after that, but Ben stuck around, and Ben still works to this day, but he trains all the producers at USI still to this day. However, when I left in May of 2015 to start my agency, and I interviewed with a few different agencies first, talked to a few of them, and I went to them and look, being where I am now, having an agency, 16 employees, no big deal. We're small, but we're growing. And these guys had agencies, the ones I was talking to, with 40, 50 employees. And I sat down and said, hey, look, I can produce. I know I can produce. You want me on your team. But for me to go do this now, starting over again, I don't want to start over a third time. I'll start over once. I don't want to start over a third time. So I need there to be some kind of equity play in order for me to work for you. There needs to be some opportunity to own equity so that I have a seat at the table. And I don't need to own your business, but I need an equity play because I've already gone and done this for 5 years. Yeah. I'm not going to go restart this again later because you sold to USI also, right? And there's a lot of sales to companies that are not like USI. There's a lot of sales to big agencies and big brokerages that leave you alone, that let you do the same thing you're doing. And I probably would have still been there. I would have stuck around if it wasn't the USI model, just because that wasn't for me. But I was scared of that. And I went and talked to a couple agency owners and basically said I wanted an opportunity because I knew my value to work with them and have an equity opportunity. And they laughed. They didn't laugh at me, but they were like, yeah, okay, well, you can start your own agency and we'll help fund it, basically. I'm like, well, I can do that on my own. Like, I don't need you for that. But, you know, it didn't turn out the way I thought, and that's okay. I was a 28-year-old, 29-year-old kid that was coming into this agency that had been around for 50 years or 30 years or whatever it was. And now I get kids that come into me and do it, and I laugh, so I get it. But the kids that come into me have no experience. At least I had some track record and had proven that I could do it. So then I had to decide. I actually paid a business broker. So then the next thing was, well, let's see if we can find an agency that's small to buy, and we'll just take it over and we'll grow it. So I paid a business broker. We paid a business broker $5,000, my dad and I, to find an agency to buy. And after, I think that was a few months or so, at least, nothing pretty much, like nothing. And he basically said, he's like, these agencies that sell, they go under the table. They get gobbled up before you even hear about them. Independent agencies, they don't go in the open market for sale. So they are very valuable to sell. Now you'll see State Farm, Farmers, you'll see those are a dime a dozen for sale all over the place. But you won't see an independent agency for sale, most likely ever. Unless they're really small, outdated, antiquated. The couple that he brought to me were like paper files, 100,000 in revenue, been in business for 10 years. Like, I look at them like, why would I buy that when I can write that in 6 months? Like, I could surpass the size of their agency in 6 months, and I'm going to pay 3 times the gross revenue for it? No. So didn't make sense. So we, forewent the $5,000, and I said, all right, we're starting from scratch. So gave notice to USI in May of 2015. Was let go the same day. Had to get a quick space. We rented a space through CPI on 1600 West Chandler Boulevard. So between Alma School and Dobson on Chandler Boulevard. Okay. It's a little brick building right there, a little brick, older office building. It was perfect. 3 offices, little open area, 1,200 square foot office. I think it had 1, 2, 3 offices, a bathroom inside of it, which I'll never do again, at least in a small office, never again. And a reception area. And I started out with me and then one other person as a CSR / receptionist / everything. So there's no way I could be a CSR. I couldn't be an account manager and a customer service rep, everything at once. I need to be able to produce and have someone to help manage the business as I'm producing it. So started in May 19th, 2015. And my first employee was kind of a disaster.
Okay, we got to go into that because I find a lot of entrepreneurs actually struggle there. Because it's like it's hard to give up control.
See, I don't have a problem giving up control of certain things of the business, like the account management, the phones, all that, right? But I'm a big believer in know your role, right? Yes. So my role is to produce and bring in the revenue. I need people to help handle it as I bring it in. That was a given. I would not start. I'm not the type of person that's a one-man band. We'll never be. I'm a divide and conquer, right? Yes. This is my role. This is your role. This is your role. This is your role. And I've had compliments even recently from a couple of people you hired that said, Craig, you guys are more like you have more strategy in the roles you have than a multi-billion-dollar company that I worked for. Which whatever, because we're smaller, we can do it. It's harder for big companies, but it makes a huge difference when you have someone that does nothing but certificates and rating. That's all they do. And so then guess what? Certificates get done quickly. Rating for new business gets done quickly. We have 2 people now that do it. Boom. Versus a lot of agencies have the account managers doing rating, certificates, managing everything. It's too much. It is too much. Jack of all trades, master of none. So, anyways, we started out small. I hired a gal who was a farmer's agent. Was referred by my buddy who was a restoration guy that worked with all these different, companies. Jason Jarvis, my buddy from Slate Restoration. He's like, oh yeah, her name was Sonia. Sonia, she's great. She's looking for something else. She works at Farmers. So I took her to lunch and we talked and I was like, okay. And wow, you learn a lot as you interview and hire people over the years. You learn what to look for. In the beginning, I just remember thinking, she's nice. Yeah. Be great. Let's go.
Just put her in the seat, right?
Nice. She smiles. She's nice. She's great. Let's go. Oh, then I find out she doesn't have a car. So I'm literally watching her boyfriend take her to work every day, drop her off, and then her boyfriend comes and picks her up. And I'm like, okay, no big deal. Oh, no offense, Sonia. I hope you're not listening to this, but love you to death. But it just didn't work. It was mess. Personal life was all over the place and it was bleeding into work and this and that. I'm like, I'm trying to grow a business from nothing. And you need to be focused because I'm focused. But it was not a good mix. And so then I'm like, how do I let someone go, right? I remember thinking, oh, this is bad. I don't want to fire him. What do I do? So I give the credit to my dad. Like, he helped mentor me in all aspects of my life, but also one of the main reasons I was confident in going out on my own was because I had his mentorship and I had CPI there to kind of look as an example of what to do. So I actually ended up reaching out, and he's like, call our HR gal. So I called his HR gal, and she came and helped fire her for me. But it was on the phone. She wasn't there with me. And I remember sitting across the desk from her and going, oh, Sonia, I need to talk to you. So this just isn't working out. Like, it's not working well, and I need to find someone that, this and this. And I don't remember what I said. I just remember being scared to death. And she gets up and goes to the bathroom and starts sobbing, crying. Okay. Now, get this. As she's in the bathroom sobbing, crying, which is right out my office to the left in the little nook in the corner, her boyfriend walks in to pick her up from work because it was at the end of the day. And he walks in. He's like, hey, Craig, how's it going? How are you? I'm like, good. And it's just me, just him, and just her in there. And I'm already sweating bullets. And now her boyfriend shows up, and he doesn't know that I just fired her. And I'm like, oh, it's good. I need to let you know I just let Sonia go, and she's in the bathroom crying. He's like, what? Don't kill me. It's gonna be okay. I promise. It's okay. I'm gonna pay her every time. One thing that's important to me is that I don't just leave people high and dry. And so, to help soften the blow, I think I paid her for an extra month. Like, I just offered to pay her for an extra month. Said, hey, go find something else. I'll pay for another month. Like, at least you have some income still. Month's a good time. You can figure it out. And that's been a good example, or a good model for me, at least, where I feel, that I'm giving people a chance to still figure it out while they're not just losing their income.
Yeah.
But I've only fired a few people. That was one that was the most tough for sure.
Because that was your first.
That was my first.
First is always tough.
Yeah. And so from there, hired someone else, and it was someone I used to work with, Donna. And she was working in another agency. She used to work at Webb & Greer. She left when USI bought us. And so I went and reached out to Donna, and she was awesome at rating. She was awesome at certificates. She was really quick on a computer. And I grabbed her, and she was great. It was the perfect person for what I needed to start to grow the business from nothing. And software, too. We had a company that was trying to do our agency management software. EasyLinks does rating for personal lines. Well, they came out with a commercial rater or commercial account, a commercial management system. And for an agency, the management system is the lifeblood of the agency. Like, it's where you have all your accounting, your clients, all your certificates are done from there. Everything that's going on with the client is in that management system. So it's your CRM times 1,000. It does everything. And there's a couple of the big boys that do most of the agencies. Well, EasyLinks, which does the rating for all agencies for personal lines, was like, oh, we have a management system. It's great. You're going to love it. And anyways, first few weeks, figured out that was a mistake, garbage. So I'm like, no, it's not. And then I had to go buy the big boy one, which is Applied Epic. Applied and Vertafore, they kind of own the industry and all the big shops. So we went with Applied. That's what I knew, and it was an upgraded version of what we used at Webb & Greer, and it's been great. But a couple of those little mistakes in the beginning and firing of people, and then I was off to the races with Donna, and we were growing, and we were right in business. And it was a big help that some of my developers who had big deals in the pipeline, but they were all one-time hits, right? There's no residual on these big new apartment, new condo, new townhouse projects. They're a one-time commission, they're a one-time deal, but they're usually large. And so one of my good clients in the first 6 months or so had a new project and a new opportunity, which kind of helped us also get off our feet and have some of those bigger deals in the pipeline. So those were unexpected, but a couple of things lined up, and we started writing business, and Donna was great. Then we hired a receptionist and had Donna. Then we had 2 account managers. I hired a personal lines gal who was doing personal lines. There's not enough time in the day to tell the stories about that one. She was awesome, but wow, she was something else. I mean, I'd look over and she'd have her foot up on the table, grinding the dead skin on her feet off on her desk.
Are you serious?
Oh, dead serious. Oh, I got some ones that probably I can't even talk about, but okay, I'll say it anyways. Okay, I don't know if I could say this. It's funny. It's funny. So kick it out of the podcast if you need to. But she would go wax her private area, and then she would put a Mountain Dew in the freezer, and she would sit on it to cool it off.
That's obvious. Okay, look, I have have stories, but that one might take the cake.
I'm not kidding you. I had some awesome stories, and she was a lot of them, okay? So, yes, we had some real interesting employees. We all have fun employees that we work with, but we had some real good ones. And so I think I still wrapped up that cuticle shaver, that foot shaver thing, and put it in a bag, and I think I was going to give it to Scott, our personal lines guy, for Christmas one year, because when she left, she kind of trained Scott, and Scott came in and took over, which, what a blessing that was. But yeah, she had some weird quirks. She had some interesting quirks.
That makes it difficult because when you have other employees, that can make a really weird dynamic in the office.
Try explaining to someone why she's sitting on a Mountain Dew can and she's putting it back in the fridge or the freezer. It's fun growing a business from nothing. And so we were off to the races. We had awesome employees. Some were weirder than others, but ended up hiring one of my good buddies' brothers. So one of my best buddies, Dusty Williams, he started Green Mango Pest Control. And I had the non-compete, so I couldn't take their business, right? So I was not taking business, doing my thing. I had a couple clients who had left USI or had written me an email saying, we're done, can't stand this, we're out. And I had taken their business after they had left, kind of a thing, but I had in writing, like, they hated them. They had this rep that did this. I mean, there's 4 or 5 maybe small accounts. Like,
yeah.
Doesn't add up to anything. But I felt those were safe because I asked the attorney, and he's like, yeah, those are safe pretty much. They're outside your non-compete. I was like, okay. But I hired Tyrell, which love the guy, still talk to him, we're still buddies. He was my buddy Dusty from Green Mango's brother. So he came on as a commercial producer with me. This is probably a year and a half in, maybe, year and a half, 2 years in. And probably a year and a half. And he was like, hey, what about this policy for Green Mango's workers' comp? I'm like, well, I got this non-compete, Actually, it was only a year in, because I'm trying to think, my non-compete was 2 years. So it was only 6 months to a year in. And he was like, hey, what about the workers' comp for Green Mango? And I'm like, well, that was my account. I can't touch it. He's like, yeah, but I can. And I go, maybe you're right. So I called over to my Uncle Damon, and I said, hey, Ty is Dusty's brother. He wants to take over the workers' comp for Green Mango. That's not mine. Or sorry, that's not me. He's getting paid the commission on it, so to speak. Yes, I own the agency, but it's his account. He'll BOR it. And I think that's fair game because it's out of my non-compete. Should have consulted better on that one. That was the trigger for USI to sue me. So they filed a lawsuit against me because of that. So a lot of good lessons learned, but was trying to be transparent, actually called. And I remember Damon, to be fair, Damon was like, hey, this isn't my call. Like, he's like, this is Ben's call and the team and whatever, and USI's call. They make those decisions. I don't decide whether to go after someone for non-compete or not. So I knew that, and we decided to BOR that workers' comp account, and they dropped a lawsuit. They'd sent a cease and desist just out of protocol before.
Yeah.
But then they just filed suit. Actually, I don't know if they sent the cease and desist followed by the lawsuit. It was right at the same time. And so we got into a lawsuit with USI. And I knew that we had not violated our non-compete. But as you know, in a lawsuit situation, it doesn't matter. Your lawyer fees just start coming like toilet paper. I mean, first couple bills, I got $8,000 for this, $4,000 for this, phone and email and communication.
It's stressful when you have a
research.
lawsuit.
Well, I'm building a business from nothing, and now I've got $4,000 to $8,000 of lawyer fees every month. Okay, and they're coming in, and you look at them, and it's like, spoke to this person for 45 minutes, and there's $300, and spoke, research for 2 hours is $700. And anyway, so, and I love the attorney, love the guy, still use him, but man, you know how attorneys are. It's every 15 minutes. You pick up the phone, every email, 15-minute increments. So that was another scary, scary time. But, oh gosh, I don't know if I should share this here, but I remember calling my dad. And again, I don't mean to make this about my dad, but, he is my biggest mentor in business. And I remember calling him and just saying, Dad, you know what's going on. I know what's going on. USI just wants to put us down. They want to suppress us so that we don't take business from them, which we aren't doing anyways, but they want to teach us a lesson. They're making an example of me, right? I was the first producer out of all the producers they acquired that left. So they want to make an example. They want to let it be known to the rest that if you leave, we can and we'll sue you. And I was scared to death. I'm like, these are expensive. Like, I'm not even making money. We're not profitable. And now here's another $48,000 a month in attorney's fees. And he, I just remember he was like, hey, just produce. Just, he was like, gosh dang it, don't make me cry. I'm a little bit of a baby.
I love these stories.
He was just like, hey, don't worry about it. He's like, we'll take care of it. Just produce. And it was scary.
Yeah.
But I had to block it out, and I had to just know that we'll make up for it eventually. It'll all work itself out. I knew that we were in the right. I knew that we had not done anything that was going to get us in hot water or be cost, I knew that we wouldn't have to pay damages back, basically. I knew that we were going to have to pay attorney's fees to defend this BS suit, but I knew it would go away. But I just remember my dad being like, hey, put it out of your mind, put it away. Focus on what you need to do, grow the business. And that was huge. And he basically just said, I got it. You have me. Don't worry about it. So,
wow.
Yeah, it was huge. The stress that was taken off because of that, right? When you can actually just know, like, okay, we'll be fine. Whether it's $200,000 in attorney's fees, whether it's $500,000, we'll be fine. We'll get it back if we need to. And I need to grow the business. And so that was a big obstacle. But after a little bit, nothing happened on the lawsuit. It just sat there. They just wanted to keep it open, I think. Mm-hmm. And then eventually we had a deposition where they were going to deposition the people from Green Mango and a couple other small accounts that had left that we'd taken. And the day before depositions, they canceled it. Because I think they knew it was not going to go well for them. So then they sat there for another few months. And again, even when nothing happens in a lawsuit, you're going back and forth and it's $2,000, $4,000. One was $8,600. I almost friggin' lost my mind. I'm like, I'm losing $5,000 a month and there's another $8,600. Like, ugh. So we finally turned the tables and I said, Rick, go out. Like, you be the aggressor. You go after him. You tell them we don't give a crap what you think we have. We're ready to show it to you. Let's go. Like these couple $100 commission accounts and the Green Mango BOR that never went through because we canceled it because you sued us. Yeah, but we're ready to show it to you. Let's go to deposition. So we went from being the, sitting back to being the aggressor. Well, sure enough, we got everybody ready for depositions. And the day before depositions, they wanted to back off. They wanted to cancel the lawsuit. So we could have asked for attorney's fees. I just said, we need to move on. I don't want to deal with this another day of my life. And it was basically just, you walk away, I'll walk away. And we did. We walked away. So I think all in all, it was only $44,000 of attorney's fees. Still scary, but paid $44,000 in attorney's fees, done with it. And that was, 8 years ago. But it was a scary time. But after that was over, it felt like another huge weight was lifted and we were just off to the races. So we've grown organically from 0 accounts to I think my book has just over 3,000 customers, commercial customers, but we've got well over 4,000 or 5,000 local customers here in the agency. We'll do just over $3 million in revenue this year. I mean, for an agency, it's decent. It's not one of the big boys, but we've grown about anywhere from $200,000 to $500,000 in revenue a year every year.
That's amazing. That's good growth.
Yeah, it's good. So we want to make sure we're on track to maintain that and keep doing that. I think this year, I already said that, but it's good. It's good, steady growth. I didn't want to grow too fast. I didn't want to hire a bunch of producers. And for me, looking at my dad as an example and seeing what he's done and then taking the good, leaving the bad, I was talking to a contractor the other day who actually had to shut down his business. And I remember talking to him and I said, why are you shutting, like what happened? Why are you shutting this down? Why was it not successful? And he was telling me how he kind of put aside some of the small jobs because he was focused on big jobs. And he regretted that. And because the big jobs ended up falling through and he didn't get some of the bigger jobs. And then he was left with no small jobs. He's left with no jobs. And he tried and just couldn't get things going again. And so he's like, I'm going to go work for somebody else. I can't do this. And I remember talking to him and saying, that's where I looked at my dad. My dad went into commercial properties, and with 2 other people's J&J Commercial Properties. It was Johnson and Johnson or Johnson and something. If you actually know, the full entity of commercial properties is J&J Commercial Properties Inc. Okay, it's not Commercial Properties Inc. That's not the legal entity. It's J&J Commercial Properties Inc. to this day. And that's because the original partners, he walked in as a producer, as a broker, with 2 partners and maybe like 1 or 2 service people. And then he outproduced them 10 times. And they actually came to him and said, hey, Leroy, do you want to buy us out? Because I think you are the business at this point. Yeah, that's what I remember, at least from the story. And it could be different. Sorry if it is, but it's roughly that, where he was producing and nobody else was really producing a fraction of what he was. And they were like, hey, you either buy us out or we know you're going to go on your own because you're having a lot of success. And so he bought them out, bought the partners out, and then took off with CPI to what it is today, just over 120, 130 employees and 60 plus brokers, commercial brokers. And so, but what he did on his own book and what he did in the company was always maintain himself as the top producer. He's always been the top producer at CPI. He's always been number 1. And that is an awesome goal for me, and that's something I always want to be. And the other part of it is he went after business that nobody else wanted sometimes. He took small deals. He took deals. He told me one of his first clients was Presidential Pools, which is one of the largest pool builders in Arizona. At the time, he put them into a 1,200 square foot space when they were brand new. And put them into a small space, kept that relationship, took care of them as if they were a big company, eventually grew to a $40+ million company. So that times 1,000, right? What happens 20, 30 years later? You've got this network, this clientele, this Rolodex, whatever you want to call it, of all these businesses that have done business with you. I keep hitting this microphone. I'm so sorry. Since they were small, right? Yeah. And just seeing that, I mean, you can't write every single small business and make money on it. For sure, there's stuff that you should walk away from, and there's stuff you should turn down. But if you can be efficient and take care of them, and really take the ones that you know you can service and take care of the right way, big or small, you can grow it to a network of a lot of people. Think about it. 3,000 people probably have done business with my dad in the East Valley of commercial real estate. Well, if they like him, they'll talk about him, they'll refer him. That's 3,000 people doing your marketing for you. Mm-hmm. Okay? So in my business, I looked at it and said, that's not a bad model. Especially when you're starting out and you're going in the beginning. Take the small ones. Take the stuff that the USIs and the Brown and Browns and the Willises of the world don't want. Take them, handle them, take care of them. They'll refer you to more. And that was and has been a huge success for us. And guess what? The $1,000 premium account that you've taken care of since they were small, maybe they didn't grow to be a big account, but they referred you to one that's big. And that's the thing that people don't see in this day and age. And that's the thing that I feel like, especially Generation X's, they don't see. They want to make $1 million and they want to make it tomorrow.
Yeah, that's not how it works.
You have to put in your time, and you have to take care of people big and small, and you have to be around. You can't just show up and here I am, do business with me. No. It doesn't work like that. And the old school tactics are always going to be successful tactics. Handshake deals will always still be a thing. It's part of business. And for me, that's been a good role model and example for me. And then watching as my dad has also been able to build a team around him to where he doesn't have to, handle the 300 emails a day that come in. He doesn't have to respond to every single email, but he has his oversight on it, and he's got people on his team now producing with him. So that's been a good model for me and a big model for me, to where I'm like, okay, I'm busy, I get referrals, this and that, but I can have people, mini-me's with me to help me write and take care of a lot of the stuff that's keeping me bogged down.
You said 2 things that are really important, I think, is the relationship. People have lost that. Mm-hmm. And business is relationship. People, like you said at the very beginning,
we're human beings. We thrive off relationships.
We want that connection,
yeah,
right?
We want connection.
And business is trust. Mm-hmm. You're going to do business with who you trust. And how do you gain trust? It's through the relationship. Mm-hmm. And it's knowing that, like you and I, we do business with you, but it's because we trust you. It's not because you came up to me one day and said, hey, let's sign a contract. That's not what it was. Right. We've done business with your dad because we trust him. Mm-hmm. And to be honest, he is the epitome of trust and what he does. But like you said, people have lost out on that. Mm-hmm. And so I feel really big. It's all about the trust, how you take care of people. And you got to put more out to get more back.
Oh, yeah.
The more you put out, the more you will get back. The problem is people are like, well, like you said, let me make $1 million today. Let me sign this today. That's not how it works, because you're going to lose that client.
Yep.
Like just insurance. Like, if you don't take care of them, they will leave for someone else that offers them $1 less.
Yeah.
That's how insurance works.
Right.
It's $1 less, $2 less. I'm going to move. But if you take care of them, and you give them the experience, 9 times out of 10, people will pay more for the experience and the relationship and trust.
And don't get me wrong, we don't want to be beat on price, right?
Yep.
But is there some podunk carrier out there somewhere that can probably save you $1,000 that I didn't know about? Probably, maybe, who knows? I don't know. It can happen. It's going to happen eventually, right? Mm-hmm. But we like to be on the top of our game. We like to make sure we're quoting and shopping and making sure we have the best options. But I've had many people call me and say, Craig, I've had 4 brokers call me this year. I don't even entertain it because I don't want to lose the way you guys do certificates. I don't want to lose the ability, like you guys process certificates. My old shop did 3 days or a week or this or that, or it was always wrong. You guys do certificates. It's right all the time. It's right the first time. It goes out the door the same day. I don't want to lose that. I don't care if they're $5,000 cheaper, which they won't be. They better not be. But it does. It speaks volumes. And so, yeah, that's where you, especially when you're doing small business, you have to be able to set it up to where you can service the small, you can service the big, and take care of them the same. And when you're talking about relationships and you're saying, the relationship, you cannot go into a relationship or a business relationship with the intention of getting yours, right? If you serve, right, like you're saying, if you go in with the intention of taking care of them and that's it, the rest will come. Who was that? I don't even know the quote, but there's many people who have said very similar things, right? Like focus on the customer and the business will come later. Focus on the service and everything else will come. Might have even been Tim Cook or Steve Jobs or someone that had a really good quote about focus on the product, focus on the service, the money will come. And that's it. That's what I believe in. And when I started the agency, I've had conversations with people, what were your goals? What were this? I don't believe in goals, okay? I do believe in goals, but I believe more in agreements than goals. My goals are agreements that I make with myself. They're not goals. What does that look like? Well, in the beginning of starting the agency, now I'm recently divorced. Love my ex-wife to death in terms of a human being. She's a great mother. Love her to death. She's an awesome human being. And I'm not going to lie and say that me starting a business didn't affect any of us. Didn't affect us. It did. It was hard. Before I started the business, I remember telling my wife, I said, I need you to agree. I need you to agree that you're not going to have a husband from Monday through Friday. He doesn't exist. He will not be here for 4 years. And I made that agreement. It was 100%. You can ask her right now. I made that agreement with her. I said, you will not have a husband Monday through Friday for at least, I think I said 3 to 4 years. And she had to agree to that for me to start the business. That was important to me because I know what kind of output or input, I should say, I was going to give because I'm scared to death of failure.
Yeah.
And so I knew what it would take. And ask anybody who was there with me. I worked from 8 a.m. to 8 p.m., said goodnight to my kids, went home, and then I got on the computer from 9 p.m. till 1 a.m. or 2 a.m. in the morning. Every freaking work day for at least 3 years. And then I backed off a little bit. I'm like, okay, I'm killing my relationships. But she was very good about it. She knew the agreement. She didn't give me crap for it. She knew. She was a single mom. Monday through Friday, she's a single mom. So
that says a lot about her support in you too.
So it was good, and we made it work, and that's not why we got divorced, but it didn't help. But
I don't think people realize what business, the stress it puts on relationships too, because it does.
Yeah.
Because if you're going towards a goal and you're going to keep this thing thriving and to grow, it puts stress. Yeah. I mean, I'm married with a husband. It puts a lot of stress on a relationship.
So even with the agreement, you still feel like, well, you haven't been here. Like, how do you know? Mm-hmm. So I worked a lot. My friends didn't see me. My family didn't see me. In fact, my buddies were having the most success they've ever had in business. They were doing this. They were buying planes and helicopters and this and this and this. And where's Craig? Where's he at, right? And I'm just working at the office. It was a lot, and I'm grateful I did it, but I don't recommend it to a lot of people. But every day it's like, are we going to go out of business, right? That's the fear that that lives in my head. Are we going to go out of business? Are we going to make it? Are we going to get sued? And that fear, I think, is what drives me and keeps me going and assures that we've been successful and will be successful. But it's what also sometimes taints other relationships because you're so focused on that. And that's where the work aspect and the learning and the grinding and the going out on Saturdays, that was awesome. My Saturdays, I don't work. I don't work Saturdays. I don't work Sundays. But I converted that to Monday through Friday. And especially the first 3 or 4 years of starting my business, I was not around. And then as the snowball builds, right, 4, 5, 6 years into it, okay, I can pick my head up. Hey, what's everyone doing?
Yeah.
What's going on out here? You guys, oh, wow. Oh, you guys are enjoying life. This is cool. Let's do that. That sounds fun. Let's do that.
But it is. Starting a business is a grind.
It's a grind, especially insurance. Trust me. Especially if you want to get to where I want to get in, sooner than later. I mean, I've talked to some agency owners who've had an insurance agency for 30 years. And they're doing $500,000 in revenue, $1 million in revenue, this and that. I'm like, okay, that's fine. It's just not me. I grew up with a lifestyle that I want to have and I want to give my kids, that I need more. I need to put in more than that, and I need to be able to grasp more than that, just for me. And it's just for me. And it's a good. I'm doing it in an honest way. I'm doing it in a legitimate way. So I feel great about it. But I know the harder I work, the more I can make, and the more input, the more output.
But that's true. It's the harder you work, the more you get back. It just is what it is. It's a law of attraction.
Yeah.
You put more out, the more you get back.
And then when you're in, you love being, taking care of people, taking care of business. When their building burns down or when they have a loss and they have this or that, and you do save their business, or you do come in with the $2 million lawsuit that's paid for, because I've had multiple losses that are $1 to $2 million. And that business would have been either out of business or, they would have been donezo. But the insurance paid for it because we wrote it in a way that made sure that it was taking care of this, and that. And, you're helping people to overcome those risks that, hit their business. And so it's a rewarding thing, but it's also one where it's like, oh, I feel good and I get to make money as I work harder. Okay, why would I not do more of this? Right? So I'm bad. I could sit in my chair in my desk 12 hours a day and not blink.
I think we're made from the same.
It's bad. It's bad.
We're made from the same.
I've been there at 10 o'clock at night multiple times when I don't have my kids right now, especially. I'll be there at 9:30 at night and I'll be like, well, do I just keep going till 1 a.m. or do I go home and go to sleep? Like I don't have a shut off switch sometimes. It's bad. But when there's so much to do too, it's like I could keep coming. Oh, I could do this and I haven't done this in a while. I could do that. Like there's just multiple things you could do.
Well, it never ends in business, right? Like there's always a to-do list and it always continues to pile up. Mm-hmm. It's never done. Mm-hmm. And so if you truly want to grow it, you have to learn how to switch it off sometimes. Otherwise it's like you said, the relationships. But I love your story because it's shown the roller coaster of entrepreneurship. Mm-hmm. And I think, like I said at the beginning, people could look at you and say, oh, your dad gave it to you. Mm-hmm. No, you still had to go through the lawsuits. You still had to fight for the business. You still had to do everything, which entrepreneurship is that. Mm-hmm. It's not a matter of if you're going to fall. It's not a matter of if you're going to fail. It's a matter of how fast you get up, learn from it, keep going.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I thought I was going to need $250,000 to $500,000 to start my agency, and I was really scared when that lawsuit. But I ended up borrowing $145,000 from my dad and paying it back within 3 years, and then we were off to the races, and little by little profitability. So it's just a like you said, roller coaster. Looking back, I wouldn't trade it for anything, but I wouldn't do it again.
I love how you said that. I wouldn't trade it for anything because it's a lot of success that you've had, but you probably wouldn't do it again if you had the knowledge. We're naive when we go into business. We're naive.
Yes.
It's like, oh, we're hungry for it. And then it's like, oh, shiz, I would have, there's no way I'd go back.
No, it's the same as what my dad, now I can relate with my dad where he said, don't do real estate.
Yeah.
I killed myself. Basically what he was trying to say was to make the money I've been able to make, I know what you have to go through and I don't want that for you. And that's what he was saying without saying it.
Yes.
And I can see it now, but I couldn't see it then. And now I did it in a different way.
Now you just killed yourself in a different way, Craig.
Just either way, just kill yourself one way or the other. But yeah.
But that's what entrepreneurs do. It's like they have this drive in them that they want to get to the next level. And the people that get to the next level, a lot of times there's a lot of grind at the beginning. Yeah. I mean, a lot of grind. We were on food storage for a year because of it. I mean, it's a lot. But I have 3 questions for you.
Yes.
What is the best advice you've ever received, Craig?
The best advice I've ever received. Oh, let me think. That's hard. I've received a lot of good advice.
Well, I know who your dad is, so it's like all the time.
Best advice? I would say one of the best pieces of advice that I've received is don't say yes to everything.
Oh, I like that one.
Honestly, I've thought about it a lot of times where there's an account where I'm like, ooh, this is a really hairy one. This is a really whatever. A lot of work, a lot of this, a lot of that. But it's really not my forte. It's really not my, it's not my area that I want to, I don't write this type of industry and there's programs for it and there's this and there's that. Should I really? And I say, nope, I don't need to say yes. They're coming to me saying, I want you to do this, this, and this. I'm tempted. I'm like, no, go to this program, go over here. They'll take care of you. They do a good job. This is what they do. Don't say yes to everything. Don't be a jack of all trades, master of none. Don't know your trade, know your craft, and know your niche, and do it the best. Be the best at it.
I love that one. Because that's the hardest thing. When you get into a business, you want to say yes to everybody because you think that's where the money comes from. And actually, when you can dial in what you do and say yes to the people that you can service the best, then that's when the money comes.
Yeah. And I see businesses go and they start one business and they're very successful at it. So then they go, oh, well, if we're really successful at this business, we should do another one like this. And then that one fails. And then that one fails. And I go, well, hey, if you would have just put your eggs in this basket where you were already succeeding and just grew that, you'd be 5 times what you are.
It's true.
And that's kind of what I believe in. I don't have another business. I don't have another area that I focus. I do nothing but this. And that's what I do. And that's all I want to do. And I want to be known as someone who's the best or of the best at that. That's it.
That is really good advice. What is the worst advice you've ever received?
The worst advice I've ever received is to grow my hair back. Just kidding. Just kidding.
Good luck with that, Craig.
I don't know. I don't want to grow my hair. I love being bald. I shaved my head last night. You couldn't pay me to grow hair. I just love it too much. I like not having to worry about it.
I know, right? Yeah. I would love to be able to shave it as a girl, but it would not happen. My husband would kill me. He'd be like,
no. What? You should keep your hair. The worst advice, I'm trying to think. The worst advice, probably, I don't know. Off the cuff, I can't think of a really bad piece of advice, but probably something along the when I took that business from USI. Probably the advice of, oh, you can do this. This is not it's not your account. It wasn't your account. It wasn't under your non-compete. You're okay. You should be able to take that. That was bad advice. But I can't think of one right now, to be honest.
Sometimes we get advice that says don't go out on our own or stuff like that. And if we listened to every naysayer, we wouldn't do the great things that we're meant to do.
That triggered right there when you said that. So before I got into the business, actually before I even went to work at Webb & Greer, I talked to a few people in the business to kind of interview them. And one of them, I won't say their name because a lot of people probably know them. It's not a name I've mentioned today, but he's a well-known guy in the industry. And I think he was trying to talk me out of being a commercial broker.
Probably because he knew you were competition.
Maybe, I don't know. But he was, oh, you should go into personal lines. That's where the money's at. You should do this.
I know that, and I'm not in insurance.
Well, it's more obvious now with the market being as hard as it is in personal lines, but you can make really good money in personal lines. The connections and referrals and things I have in the commercial world, I'd be an idiot not to be in that world. And he was trying to talk me into being a personal lines agent, and I'm like, what? Really? That doesn't.
I'm going to ask you who that is after this because I think I know who it is.
Really? Okay. He owns an agency, and I'll tell you, he mostly does personal lines, but he's not. He's never been an agent himself. Never.
Okay.
Well, maybe he was back in the day, but he runs his agency with a bunch of agents.
Okay.
That's not what I started. I started my agency because I was being told what I could and couldn't write. I was being told that you can't write this, it's too small. You can write this, it's bigger. Your commission's this because it's small. No, I wanted the agency to where it supports my business. I didn't care to hire producers. I never wanted producers. Now, as I've gotten to the economy of scale where we're at, it makes sense to hire a couple producers, so that we help put business with our insurance companies because they like us to feed them business. Mm-hmm. And when it's not just me feeding them business, a little burden off my back. But I will always be the main producer. I believe I'll always be the number one producer. I hope someone proves me wrong, but and I do think we've hired and we've started to hire a couple producers. We've had a couple now, and one just left actually because he wanted to be a partner with me basically. And I'm like, yeah, thanks. I've been there, buddy, but you haven't even proven yourself yet. Have a nice day. You haven't even validated, and you want to be a partner with me and this, and you want to own your book. And I don't know what that looks like, but he's off to greener pastures in his mind. And so we're going to bring on a couple more and just train them. And that's what I'm going to focus on for the next few months. Is I have 3 people on my book of business now that help. When leads are coming in right now, they're taking the call, they're writing down the information, and they're putting it together. And then I look it over before it gets sent out. I look it over before it gets sold. And it's been a huge help to keep those leads happy, to keep those accounts, new business flowing. And I can still go out and target big ones. I can still go solicit big accounts and bring them into my team and they help me write it as well. So having the ability, they're in my email. I get 200 plus emails a day. I got 3 people that are on my email that will respond as me for a lot of it. So
I know now
I still get on at the end of every day.
Yeah.
I'm on there. So typically I don't get to my emails until 3 o'clock in the afternoon or later now.
Yeah.
But I'll get on between 3 and 5, or you'll get, if you get one at 11 o'clock at night, midnight sometimes, if I don't have my kids, it'll always be me. But it'll also be me during the day. They leave the more technical stuff for me. Mm-hmm. And then there's stuff that can just be passed to an account manager, responded to easily. Stuff that was, the frustrating thing is as you're growing and wearing all these different hats, you'll get emails at 8 in the morning and you're in meetings like this or over here, and it's a simple response. But if someone's not watching, they don't get a response for 4 hours. That drives me crazy.
Oh, yeah.
I don't put up with that. That's why we are where we are, is we respond, we take care, we get back to people. So having those people in my inbox to get those easy responses or forward to an account manager that it should be going to anyways, but
it's brilliant because it's customer service.
That's efficiency. Yeah. It's customer service.
You're taking care of your clients.
That's right. It comes as me. It might not be me sometimes. It is me sometimes.
But that's brilliant. Yeah. Like that's what we use. Help Scout to filter all emails through one. Yeah. So that anybody can go in, because then you can see the response time. Then you can make sure that it's dialed in.
That's cool.
So I love that, because that's what has to happen in the industry. Even though everybody, like, the industries everywhere are going tech-based, but people are yearning for that connection. They want to know.
It has to be a human that responds with human intellect, especially in what I do. It cannot be a robot.
Same here.
It can't. So there's, again, you're reading people's contracts and this and that, and I love it. I love what I do now. I mean, I feel like a nerd sometimes. I just helped a property manager who had a leak in one of their spaces, leak to another space, and the landlord's like with the property manager going, "Hey, we shouldn't be paying for this dentist." It was a dentist down below, and the dentist has their attorney on him going, "You need to pay to replace our equipment. We got $200,000 of equipment, dental equipment that's ruined because your water heater upstairs broke and flooded and damaged our stuff." And I've been through this scenario 1,000 times. The property manager calls me and she goes, "Hey, do you have any advice for this? Like, what would you say?" And I go, "Send me the email. I'll type it." So she sent me the email from the tenant, from the dentist. I wrote an email, which I'm very long-winded on emails. One strength that I have is I was pretty good at English. I'm pretty good at like answering incomplete sentences or responding in a way that basically tells a story or elaborates very intensively. And so I just spelled it out for her, and I said, "Send me their lease." She sent me their lease. I took a snippet out of their lease, highlighted it, took the snippet out, highlighted it, put it in there and said, "Hey, basically, tenant, good luck. And you tell me why you think a landlord should pay for your business personal property when clearly the lease says you're on the hook for your stuff, we're on the hook for our stuff, other than negligence due to fire, which is this caveat. Other than that, why would we pay for your stuff when we insure ours, you're insurers, and we have a mutual waiver of subrogation built into the lease? You tell me. You tell me why this makes sense." And the property manager called me like 3 hours later. And she goes, "Thank you. It's done."
But by doing that wasn't written in your business. You could have said,
that wasn't
"No,
in my
I'm
account."
not gonna."
Right.
But because you did that, she will be a lifelong customer
it's
forever.
Relationships. It's relationships. Because of that now, who do you think she thinks of when there's an insurance problem?
Oh, you.
Me. And
100%.
And then if you have 50 of those property managers that do that, that's business that feeds you.
It does.
So it's awesome. I love it, and I love being technical, and it's because of the technicality. That's what keeps me intrigued, right? It's the technical stuff and the variants that keep me intrigued in what I do, and it's different every day. So I love it.
I love that. What's the one book you would recommend for people to read?
Well, so I am not a good book reader. Okay. I've started a lot of books. I have finished very few. Okay.
Okay.
The Book of Mormon was one. No, I'm kidding. I read that once. But there's 2 books that I've started that I want to finish that I haven't, and I can't even tell you who the authors are because I've had the book sitting there, but one is called Extreme Ownership.
Oh, I like that one.
Okay. And the other one is The E-Myth.
Oh, yeah. I just got recommended. I had a podcast before this. Colton recommended E-Myth. And it's on my list this year to read because I have
E-Myth is I started again probably halfway through it, but never finished it. However, I got the general idea and I've got kind of the conclusion from my buddies who've read it, and it's perfect. It's awesome. It basically is about a woman that makes pies, and then she starts a pie business, and it teaches you that just because you are good at making pies doesn't mean you're going to be good at running a pie business.
Oh.
Right? You can be really good at your trade. It doesn't mean you're going to be a really good entrepreneur.
Oh, it's so true.
And that's my struggle, right? I know that I can be really good at my trade and I can be really good at what I do, but learning to be an entrepreneur is a different thing.
Oh.
And being a leader is a different thing, right? And my dad, one of his faults and one of my faults, coincidentally, is we tend to think that being a good producer and being the number one sales guy is being a good leader. And it's not always. It's not. It's a good example of how to produce, but it's not being a good leader. And so, I would say my dad would agree that's one of his weaknesses is like, he is a good leader because he's a good people person. He's a good this and he's a great leader. But where his business lacks is the same place where my business lacks sometimes is being a leader outside of being a producer, being a leader outside of being the number one producer, being a leader outside of just showing people how to grow, like growing your business. That's not being a leader. Being a leader is all the other things that go along with treating your employees, taking care of them, following up with them, meeting with them.
One-on-ones, KPI, all that stuff.
Being an example in other ways than a salesperson.
But that's why I think you've done well, but your dad's done really well. He's hired the right people
Yes.
Put them in place to say, hey, do this that I'm not good at. Because as an entrepreneur, we think as we start a business, we're good at everything, right? But in reality, we're not.
No.
We suck at 90% of it, and we got to hire the right people to put in place to make sure things run smooth.
A business is not a business without key employees. You cannot have it.
100%.
You cannot have a successful business without key people in that business. No one-man band is ever going to be a successful, large, decent-sized business. It will not happen. I see it. I've seen a couple people. I've got a buddy who does health insurance, and I've referred him business, and all of a sudden people are calling me going, well, I can't get a hold of this guy. He won't respond to me. He won't do this, won't do that. And I'm like, gosh, dang it, dude. If you would just hire people to help grow your business and stop being so cheap, right? You don't want to hire that $50,000, $60,000 employee because that's $50,000, $60,000 out of your pocket. But guess what? You'll make up for that because people will stay with you and you'll be able to grow and grow into that. That's one of those e-myths that people fall into is, well, I don't want to hire more people. That means more money. Yeah, it's called an investment.
It's an investment.
It's called an investment.
And when you hire someone, oh my goodness, what you do is you expand, and what you do is you can actually grow, and your client base and your customer service at all.
It's faith, right? It's like you have to hire people, and I have to do this a lot. I have to hire account managers before we need another account manager. Because
6 months a minimum.
I have to see, and maybe we have to make sure this person's going to be a good account manager before we need them. You're investing into the future for that growth. And that's where that vision has to be there. So you're continually hiring. I mean, we just hired a backup to our rater and certificate person because I'm like, she's getting overwhelmed. I can see it. I can tell. I can't lose her. What do I need to do? Have a backup for her. My bookkeeper's getting overwhelmed. Oh my gosh, we need to start taking some stuff off her plate. What is she going to do if she doesn't get relieved? She's going to quit. She's
when they quit, that hurts worse the business.
Then you're whacked and you got a huge hole and a deficit you're trying to fill last minute. There's nothing worse than rushing to hire someone out of need.
Oh, that's
the worst.
Yeah,
you make mistakes and you hire too quickly and you rush into things and then you go through 4 people instead of hiring one. Been there, done that. It's all things that you learn.
And that it's a learning journey, right? I say this all the time. A business is a living, breathing organism that gives life to many. And entrepreneurship, when someone says, hey, I'm going to start a business, 9 times out of 10, they create a job for themselves. And when they create a job for themselves, they create a cap. Unless you build that team out, you have a cap on your head.
Right.
Like you said, you have to build the team. The team is what elevates the company to the next level.
Right.
So I love that. Craig, where can they find you? Because we use you for insurance, and I love your company. Where can they find you to look you up and call you? And
well, in the last year, we have a social media. We have an Instagram now that we do pay a marketing firm to help post some content. I'm actually supposed to do some videos and stuff so they can post more. It's it's cheesy. I know I just feel so cheesy doing it, but I really am not big on like the taking videos of myself and stuff, but that's people like it and people want to see it and they want it to be personable. So we have an Instagram, we have a website, obviously. We're on Google. Like if you Google Breinholt Insurance Group, you'll see our location, our address, our phone. My phone number is all over everything just because I work on my cell. I am available on my cell. I'm here. I don't want to, if I come out of this meeting and I've got a client I need to call, I want it to be on my cell. I don't want to have to go back to the office and see it on my office. I transfer everything from my desk phone to my cell. So you can find, it's not hard to find me. It's the ugly bald guy walking around Gilbert.
They can Google Breinholt Insurance Group.
Yes, Breinholt Insurance Group. We have a website in Google or on Google Maps. You pull it up, it'll pop up right there. But there is, so I would say Breinholt Insurance should pull us up. My uncle has his agency, which is right across the street now, called Breinholt Anderson Insurance Consultants.
Okay.
So Breinholt Anderson, those are two guys that used to work at Webb & Greer, Devin Anderson and Damon Breinholt. So they are right across the street, which I'm on great terms with Damon. We play pickleball every Monday together with our family. Like we're in good terms, but he's right across the street. Every time I pull out of my parking lot, he's right there at the building outside. So
like a Breinholt Insurance
Breinholt
Group.
Insurance. Breinholt Insurance, that's us. Breinholt Anderson, that's them.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because I know you've helped us out a lot, so I definitely want to send business your way. We appreciate it.
You guys are great. You're too easy to work with. It's simple.
I don't know about that.
We don't need to get into that. But you had that claim that I literally wanted to strangle that adjuster for however long it was.
We're still going through that. We have a bunch of stuff going down with that. But you were always there, and you gave examples. You would give emails. You right there with us through the process.
Sometimes
so we definitely want people to know.
Sometimes you can't pick these adjusters, and you get who you get, and it's like, man, you had sent 10 emails in a row, and I'm like, I'm calling his manager going, look at this, 10 emails in a row and no response from this guy. Is he brain dead? Fire him. Where is this guy?
Yep.
We don't do business like this. So I do get fired up, and sometimes I have to yell at the people, and then they. So that guy though, I have no remorse for him. I don't care about him. It
was sad to see.
I blasted
how that
guy. Oh.
But
so most of our carriers we work with, I've never had that experience in 15 years, to be honest with you. I kid you not.
That's what we had from a grouper that we're working with right now to help us, lawyers and stuff. They're like, we've never seen this. This is insane.
It's wild.
They're
Even
like,
with the same company, I've never seen it.
I know. We have a lot of people that are recommending us.
I know the guy's name right here. It's JG.
Yeah, seriously. No, we appreciate you coming out, Craig. It's always a joy to talk to you. I could talk to you forever because you're easy to talk to. But we appreciate you coming out, and thank you.
Easy to talk to, ugly to look at. I get that a lot.
I didn't say that.
Thank you so much, Tiffany. Appreciate you having me. Thank you.
Thanks for tuning in today to The Road Less Traveled. If you're organizing an event, workshop, or simply planning something exciting and would like to have Tiffany Rosenbaum join you or want to have her on your podcast, visit TiffanyMRosenbaum.com and click on Book Tiffany to get started.